Alright guys, so I'm gonna kind of explain where we've been, what's been going on. We kind of took like a week and a half or so break. A lot has been going on in my life, and I just I just could not film or edit or just do any of that. So basically what happened was, what was it, like 2 weeks ago? I can't remember. I went to bed on a Friday night and I could not sleep. Like, I was having contractions, or Braxton Hicks, whatever you want to call them. You know how Braxton Hicks, they like tighten your stomach? I was having a lot of those. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just try to lay here and like see. Well, midnight rolled around and they were still happening. They were far apart. It's not like they were really close, but they were still happening and they were keeping me awake. So then I was trying to wake up Gage. I was like, my stomach's hurting. I don't know what to do. And he just like rolled over and went back to bed. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just try to write it out and maybe I'll wake up the next morning and they'll be gone, because I know Braxton Hicks are completely normal, especially in your third pregnancy. I could not go to bed. The pain kept coming. That I downloaded a contraction timer on my phone and actually started timing them because they started getting painful and consistent. So then by 4 in the morning, I still hadn't slept or anything. And I woke Gage up. He's like, well, try using the restroom, try using the restroom. So I did, and I couldn't. I still having the pain. I finally went to bed. I put like a cold rag on my head just because it felt better. And for some reason that helped me fall asleep. I think I was just so tired. But I fell asleep, but sure enough, an hour later, I was woken up with the pain again, still coming. This time the pain was really, really bad. Like it was coming like every 5-10 minutes. And then it got to the point where it was hurting so bad that I started crying, and I told Gage, we need to go to the hospital. Like, this is not okay. Well, my hospital is about, I'd say 15-20 minutes away, but the pain was so bad that we decided to go to our local hospital. Does that make sense? And then also, every time I had a contraction, I started throwing up. So I don't know if I was throwing up because of pain or what, but I had a contraction and then I threw up, and then had loose stools as well. And then I felt so much better after I threw up that first time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can catch a break. Like, I can actually sit up, I can walk, I can do things. So I took a little sip of water, came downstairs. We were waiting for his parents to get here because we decided we were gonna go just to our local hospital, because I mean, I was puking and the pain, like I didn't think I could sit in the car like for 20 minutes just because the pain, it was worse than those two together. Like, it was horrible. And so then I took a sip of that water. Not even 2 minutes later, I started getting a contraction again. And I started getting really sweaty and really hot. I knew for sure, I thought for sure I was going to pass out. And we have a downstairs bathroom, so I went to that bathroom and I just sat down and like, could have sworn I was gonna pass out. And I was telling Gage, I was like, no, you have to call the ambulance. Like, something's going on. It's like, I cannot move. Like, I'm about to pass out right here on the bathroom floor. Like, the pain is so intense and I'm so lightheaded. I couldn't move. I was getting so I was sweating bad. And then I started throwing up again. And the loose stools again. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have to go. We have to go. His parents finally arrived. We got in the car. We're like literally a minute away from the hospital, our local hospital. And so we drove up there, went into the emergency. They brought me right up to labor and delivery to make sure it wasn't preterm labor. I was only 23 weeks at the time. And they started hooking me up to the machines to count the contractions, and basically did that, and then did some testing, and then realized that I was severely dehydrated. So they had an IV, and they tried to put an IV in this wrist, and that one burst, and then they tried to put an IV in this wrist, and that one burst. They could not find, get a vein to work because I was so severely dehydrated, and then they thought they would have to call up anesthesia to get them to have like a special tool to find a vein to get fluids into me. And they tried one more time. There's like a nurse in the labor and delivery that is like known to be really good with IVs, and she came, and then they tried like right there on my arm, and she got it like the first time, thank God. But after all those pricks, oh my gosh. And so they started getting fluid in me. I was in the hospital hooked up to like that fluid for, oh gosh, like 6 hours. And they were also obviously monitoring to make sure I wasn't in preterm labor. They did an ultrasound, and they did blood work. So I was not in preterm labor. Turns out I just had a really bad either 24-hour stomach bug or food poisoning. I have no idea, because I felt fine like the next day. So I don't know if that was probably because all the fluids, but I don't know what it was. But they figured that the contractions that I was having, that I was telling you guys about, was because I was severely dehydrated. And if you guys don't know, if you become really dehydrated, that brings on contractions. And so like I said, they did the ultrasound to make sure the cervix length is good, and that is still nice, good, and long. She said it was at a 5. If you guys know any medical terms, it was at a 5, not 5 centimeters dilated. The length was at 5, so it wasn't shortening, it wasn't getting any smaller. So she said 5 is great. It's an amazing number. Like, I'm not in preterm labor at all. There was little baby contractions on the monitor, but once I started getting the fluids, like, I had no contractions at all. So they ruled out was not preterm labor, and that it was a really bad stomach bug. And then yeah, we went home, and my sister took Noah for the night. Myah stayed with us because she wasn't feeling good either, and we basically just slept. Like, my body was hurting, and then the next day I felt like a little bit better, but you still kind of feel groggy. But then 4 days later, yeah, so that was a Saturday, so then Sunday feeling a little bit better, but you're still in that like 6th stage. Thursday, Friday, so like 4 days later, I got sick again with a really bad, horrible cold. And being pregnant, you can't take anything, so I was so miserable. The whole weekend I was like in bed, like not doing anything, and I finally got better. And then I was dealing with, after that, like personal issues with just my anxiety. And I don't really deal with depression, but my anxiety brings on depression. Does that make sense? So then I was dealing with that as well. But that's basically what happened, and why everything's been kind of at a standstill. So hoping you guys understand just like what I went, like what I'm going through, like just emotionally and mentally, and then being sick. Thank goodness it was not preterm labor. It was not preterm labor at all. I don't want you guys to think that I went or I'm high risk or anything right now. It was a stomach bug that caused contractions, but I'm completely okay. I've been to my OB. Everything's completely fine with baby. I'm not going into preterm labor. My cervix is closed. And thank you for being so understanding, and we will talk to you in our next video. Bye.